On today's video, let's start talking about the teaming up phase of Light and Darkness. This is the first phase of Light and Darkness, and on this channel, I told you we will cover Light and Darkness extensively, so every single one of you will know what you need to do in the next mode of Lost Kingdom. The first phase is teaming up. We're gonna go through all the rules, show you guys everything you need to know, explain to you how this is a good as well as a potentially bad thing, a few situations that have already arisen out of this, as well as my opinion on this whole shebang. So if you guys are looking to get to know Light and Darkness better, this is the first step of many to come. Subscribe to the channel for more of this content, of course, and drop a like on the video. And let's get on with it. Hey there YouTube, welcome back to Gekko Gaming. Today we start off our coverage of Light and Darkness, and we start it straight up with the teaming up phase. It is up and running. It's been running up for about I think a day or 2 days ish. Here's the deal. Let's start reading through the rules, then I'll show you everything. We'll talk a little bit about situations, about my opinion, and a few other things that you should know before you get into this phase in your Light and Darkness. And of course, we're a sponsored content creator of Rise of Kingdoms. So let's get it going. Let's start reading the rules and we'll go from there. After the teaming up phase begins, kingdoms can team up with each other. Each team can hold up to 4 kingdoms. A king can either choose to create their own team or join a team that already exists. Each kingdom is categorized into 4 types, A, B, C, or D. Only kingdoms that match their team's required types are able to apply for that team. Before teaming up phase ends, a king can choose to switch teams as they see fit or even create their own team. After teaming up phase ends, kingdoms that do not belong to a team, and also teams that do not have 4 kingdoms, very important, in them will be assigned randomly into teams that they meet the requirements for, or of course, kingdoms will be assigned to their team. After the teaming up phase ends, teams of identical types will be matched against each other based on their power. The 2 teams that are matched against each other will be assigned randomly into Camp Solaria or Camp Lunaria. Alright, this sounds a little bit complicated, but let me break it down to you guys by showing you the next phase. So if we preview teams, we can see the 279 are an A team, and they are essentially in a situation where they need 3 B teams. The way this worked out is that there are 2 types of teams. There is an ABBB or a CDDD. Now, you'll see why in a second. This, by the way, is one of the things that we've talked about on this channel quite a bit, that you have to figure out how to get teams of different sizes to play with each other. I've been saying it for months and months and months, and it seems like Lilith caught on to it and figured out, let's mix it up a little bit and see how we set teams in different types and make them play with each other. This is exactly what we've been talking about on this channel, and even though, I'm not bragging on suggestions nor taking credit for the suggestion, but it goes to show you that Lilith does pay attention to what you guys say and what we all say as a community. So let's go take a look at the teams very quickly. You can see there are plenty of teams being made already, A's and B's and C's. And the cool thing about this is that you can click on a team and you can see if it has 3 members, which members they are, and or 4 members. And for some weird reason, C and D don't really work. Maybe it's because I'm not part of those categories, therefore I don't see it. But you can see on the A-B team that it also tells you this team 3 out of 4 requires 1 B team. This team 2 out of 4 requires an A and a B. And so, yeah, it's pretty cool. I really dig it. They essentially divided it up so that there are kingdoms that are A team, 6 kingdoms, 6 C kingdoms, and then 18 B's and D's. Now, if we go take a quick peek at teams A, first and foremost, what you're seeing here is practically Lost Kingdom 135, the team that we watched and covered. It was 278, 279, I believe 289, and 1 more. I'm not entirely sure. I think it was 283, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember anymore, so don't get mad at me. But what you can see is these guys are now A teams, which means they will not be teaming up with each other anymore. And these are some of the bigger kingdoms. If we take a look, you'll see TX46, shout out to the 4-6 gang, and of course we know it from character T being in there. You have right here this and the big team, their leader in here, 279 at 7.8 billion, 7.6 billion, just under 7 billion, 7.4, 7.8. And then if we go take a look at the B teams, they're like 5 billion. There is 280 are one of the B teams that are the stronger ones, but I feel like they are more top-sided than anything, which is why they ended up here. And 5 billions, almost 6 billions, primarily as B teams. You can see right there a little bit of 4.5s, 5.3s, 6.1, but primarily ranging between 4 and 6, 6.3 being 6.4-ish, being the bigger one out of all of them at 313. A kingdom we had seen also, 313 and 311, we had seen them in Lost Kingdom 135. But then if we look at C team, they're also like kind of in this range, but more leaning towards a 4, just below 4, and I think the bigger one is 5.9 out of this. And then the D teams, I've also kind of like between like primarily the 3s and 4s. I feel like we saw 1 under 3, and I think there is 1 above. There's 2 under 3, 3 under 3, and I think there's not even 1 above 4. So the idea here was to have a top team in terms of power with 3 teams that are a top kingdom with more power, with 3 kingdoms that have a little bit of a lesser power than the A kingdoms, and then have the C folks team up with D folks and essentially divide into 2 camps: A's and B's, C's and D's, stronger, weaker, and weaker and stronger just in terms of power, right? Some of these kingdoms in the C and D category are newer kingdoms than the folks in A and B and stuff like that. So maybe it was also a division of the number of kingdom. I'm seeing a lot of 300s and 200s in D's, which kind of makes no sense because A's and B's are also the same thing. So it's a division into 2 camps. Now, on top of all this, you can have a situation in which the fight is as fair as it can get, because the teams still get to pick each other who they want to play with, but there's a big pool, and theoretically, because there's a big pool and there is a limited amount of kingdoms, you could end up with 2 very, very, very strong ABBB teams that are stronger than the other 4. But then all that'll happen is that they'll match against each other. So it seems that Lilith are taking the thing of making Lost Kingdom more balanced very serious. And they've stopped doing this whole thing where the top strength fights each other. Now it's one of the bigger one with 3 of smaller in sense of power. If you're a B team or a D team, don't get offended. I don't think it's a matter of getting offended or anything by what I say, because I like all of these kingdoms. I think that even if you end up in C and D is a great thing, because now you're fighting people of your size. You don't end up getting stuck against massive kingdoms. And so I really dig it. You can see right now, these are the teams that are trying to work it out. You can see some teams have A, B waiting for 2 more Bs. Some teams, like 278 is looking for another couple pairs. We are looking for a couple of B players. At the same time, there is someone like 300 and 306 who have 2 Bs looking for an A and a B. These guys are looking for a final B. So it leaves tons of room for a lot of diplomacy. But I don't think that diplomacy will necessarily harm the experience of the game itself, of the mode itself. But it is left open for people to communicate and indeed pick a team. A couple of other things you should know about this whole situation is that if you're a team member, you can first of all add a little bit of a announcement where you can leave a message, and you can review applications, which kingdoms want to work with you. 291, shout out to 291, good people in here. These guys applied as a B team to work with 279. Hopefully I can show this. I'm sorry if I wasn't supposed to, but this is gonna be public. If they join the team, then it's gonna be a public thing, right? The cool thing about this too is that you can leave and join and move teams as the teaming up phase is going on. So you can really see who the teams are and try to either poach someone or see that there is one team that is way too stacked there's a potential that you'll end up fighting them. Therefore, you might want to try to switch to a weaker team or something like that. You just really don't want to get caught off guard at the end of teaming phase, or else you'll end up with a random team, which could be a huge pain in the butt in case, you know, there's people you don't like or kingdoms you've never had a conversation with who have different, I don't know, different opinions or different goals or different anything than you. There are a total of, I believe, 48 kingdoms, right? Because it's six teams of 4. So yeah, that makes a lot more sense. That's the 12 times 4, 48 teams that are participating in this specific round. But again, there could be another round that's going on in younger kingdoms that have A's and B's set up yet again. Here's the deal though. There are situations in which, for example, and I'm strictly using them as an example, this has nothing to do with them. I don't know if this is true. It's just an example. There could be a situation in which these two teams are dead on working with each other. 300 and 306 are a team, and 307 and 304 are a team, except that 307 can't stand 306. So 304 doesn't mind working with 300 and 306, but 307 will not do it. And so now there's two teams that can complement each other and make one team out of it. But because of potential, I don't know, you can call it conflict or beef or anything between these kingdoms, that is not happening. And then they'll end up getting teamed up together because they'll be the only pair that doesn't have a team really. If you really look, at the end of the day, nobody's going to stay teamless. Teams are going to be made regardless. And so if you don't want to pick someone and nobody wants to pick that someone, eventually a team will be needing one of that someone's type and they'll end up with them. So I feel like this opens up a door for people to stop fighting each other as much. And I'm taking a look. I see Mad Phantom in here. Shout out to Mad Phantom. I randomly landed on him. And for the record, I used 307, 304, 300, and 306 as an example. I don't know of anything beef with each other. No, I'm not saying that. But it does make a point in which you cannot hold on to beef for too long, because you can be beefing with another kingdom and decide you don't want to work with them, but you might not have a choice. And so do you tank your whole team's light and darkness because you have old beef with a kingdom? I feel like this event, this teaming up overall, my opinion on it is I really like it. I really, really, really like it. I think that it's a place where people are going to have to figure out how to work with each other or else they're screwed. You have your choices, but you don't have your most, I don't know, you don't have the comfort choices. You're going to have to get out of your comfort zone to find a better team, to find the people you want to play with, to get to know new kingdoms that you haven't played with in the past, as well as to put some beef to the side. Because at the end of the day, this is all about teaming up 4 kingdoms against 4 kingdoms for the glory of Lost Kingdom. There are plenty of things you should know about, but if there's a couple of things that I want to point out to Lilith is that you guys need to get your text wrap to work, because you have sentences that are way too long and are not text wrapped, Lilith, so it's not fitting in the sizing. It's as simple as fixing your text wrap. It's not the biggest of deals, but I can't read the descriptions. I don't know if every mobile device is like that, but I can't read it, so that's already bad enough. I'm assuming there are people who can't either. So yeah, nothing much to be said about this. We're gonna wait the other 2.5 days. I really dig the fact that you can, by the way, go in here and just chat, and it makes a chat between you and the king of that kingdom. In this case, the king is also the bigger alliance. Let's go find someone who isn't, like this. Who do we get there? Then we get the king. You get to chat with the king essentially, which is kind of like sending a mail to, but I really like the chat button. I can't stand the fact that in Rise of Kingdoms in general, you can't send a message to an alliance leader without like working hard for it, because let's go take a peek at what I mean. If you go, I don't know, randomly to this alliance and then click on the king, go away, Pokemon, and then I can either contact leader by sending him mail, but if I click on alliance members and I try, this actually works. What do you know? I'll take that back. That usually used to give me a headache. Having to go in here and there, that's too much. Turns out that works. Maybe I'm completely brain dead about that. Oh well, anyway, bottom line, I like it. It's awesome. In 2 days, in 10 hours, we'll know what's going on. Up until then, everything can change. As you guys saw, a king can change teams or make teams, and as long as this exists, I'm assuming 279 will still find either 2 more B kingdoms, or end up getting assigned, or even end up bailing on the 1B kingdom to go here, perhaps, maybe. I don't know. We're going to have to find out and see how this works. But the fact is, there's a long time, plenty of teams, lots of space for diplomacy, and at the end of the day, nobody's going to stay teamless. It's going to be a 6 kingdoms, 6 teams ABB, 6 teams CDDD, and at the end, they're going to fight each other off with a similar power and try to get that Lost Kingdom rewards. And yeah, I'm excited to see how this works out. What do you guys think about this matchmaking system? Leave me a comment down below. I think it's a huge improvement compared to the last one. I think it's awesome that you can figure out which teams exist, so you can kind of try to figure out who you're fighting against. Positioning on the map is a little bit less of a thing nowadays because no more corner kingdoms, and you'll get to a zone 5, pretty much to a 2v2 situation where you can isolate corners and all that. Things are getting awesome. Things are getting really, really well, really quickly. And so I dig this. I want to know what you guys think, either here in the comments or on Discord or on Twitter or on Instagram or on Facebook. All those links are in the description as well as the playlist for everything you need to know about Lost Kingdom. Don't forget to drop a sub on the channel. I would appreciate it very much. For some reason, you guys don't like to subscribe anymore. I don't know. Anyway, I'm Gekko. I'm out of here. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. I appreciate every single one of you watched it, dropped a like, subscribed, commented, interacted, engaged, and all that good stuff. You guys are the best community out there, and I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Take care. Peace.